Hey, so one thing I wanted to mention about breath work, because I think probably most of you have found me through my crazy breath work video when I was just off the fucking rails. Persona! When you go through a traumatic experience, what you tend to do is like maybe something is really scary and you suddenly, you're like, and you hold your breath. And then what actually happens is like, it's almost like when you hold your breath, a certain emotion gets trapped with that breath hold. And if you go through life, like you kind of have all of these like withheld breathing emotional blockages within you. And if you don't release it, then it's kind of like you create this like stiff body in you where you just have all this baggage that you really ought to let go. So one really good thing with breath work is it's like when you start focusing on the breath and you really kind of go through these like, these cycles of breathing, it like, oh fuck, that felt good. Fuck, that feels good, man. Like God breathing is good. That's some good shit. Fuck, like, ugh. But that's just you don't even need anything here. It clears the passages. And sometimes what you find is when you do breath work over extended amounts of time, it feels like it gets to a point where you can't breathe in anymore because it feels like you're full, and it's like the only way you can actually breathe more is if you clear the block that is in your channel. So then usually when that happens, it's like it gets to a point for me where it feels like I have to make a lot of noise. I'm like, oh, but actually way more louder because I don't want to freak anyone out. But I start kind of making all of these noise, and it's like I'm releasing all of this pain or all of this inhibition that's been stuck in me, and it's like through the breathing of like like in and out. It's like you're kind of like pumping through the blockages, the roadworks or the walls, the obstacles in your channel, and it's like and it gets to a point. It's like it forms enough pressure, right? It forms enough pressure. Then it's like you have to be like, ugh, and you really let go. And you kind of break through. If you ever do breath work and it feels like it gets to a point where you want to make noise or you want to let out something, okay? Let it out. Actually, that's the most natural thing you can do in that moment. And if you ever been to actually any facilitated breathwork workshops where there's a lot of people lying around, like what ends up happening is like people start like screaming in the fucking top of their voice to let out all of these emotions that they have trapped. So if you can in your house, if you have alone time where you're not worried about freaking people out or whatever, or you just don't give a shit, which is even better, do breath work, feel that pressure, boom, let it out, and I find you'll just be a freer person. And actually what you'll notice as well is your voice actually gets more clear, because it's like when you have all of these breathing hold patterns within you, and it actually obstructs your voice in a way. It's like your throat chakra, your expression, it's like there's a blockage there, but it's like when you let it all out, like your voice clears up, and I think a lot of things clears up in the channel in a way. I've been following this guy that I feel like is really good vibes. There's this video, I'll probably put it up somewhere here, as you can see, and it's just like some random dude, I think from Canada, and he's just cool, and he's got good vibes, and he has this really nice like American Indian song playing in the background where we do the breathing, and he's breathing along to Wim Hof breathing. So I breathe along to him breathing along to Wim Hof breathing, and then maybe I'll make a video of me breathing along to him to breathe to Wim Hof, then you're breathing along to me to breathing along to him breathing along to Wim Hof with American Indian music. So who knows? We'll continue this chain of breath masters. But I've been following him, and I've been having a lot of breakthroughs actually. Especially in the mornings, especially when I wake up and I just feel like a piece of shit. I'm just like, ugh, and I don't feel like moving. But it's like the moment I start just doing these breath work exercises and I let out my voice, because I think a part of me is like, I think in general, it's like a part of me is afraid to fully express myself because I'm afraid of how I will be perceived. So it's like if you wake up in the morning for whatever reason with that programming imbued in you and you carry on the rest of the day with that, it's actually really debilitating. It's very inhibiting. So it's like the moment you feel that, actually, first of all, acknowledge it, of course. And then it's like if you want something to help you to break through that fear that's ultimately not necessary, in my opinion, then I find breath work and letting out your voice and making a lot of noise and just like blah, and just releasing is really good. Like releasing through your air channels, not your like your sexual channels, which I feel like, going down doesn't really help that much, whereas going up, just like, you know, like to the fucking heavens, that's really helpful. So I love you and I appreciate you and I thank you.